Welcome to Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. I'm Peter Gross, co-host of the original Wild Kingdom with Marlin Perkins and Jim Fowler. For more than 50 years, Wild Kingdom explored wildlife and our natural world. Tonight's episode and many others focus on the timeless value of wildlife conservation. Wild Kingdom played a critical role in changing public attitudes about the importance of animals for the health of our planet and our own quality of life. We challenge viewers to learn about animals and get involved in conservation in their local communities. That call to action resulted in more visits to local zoos, nature preserves, and even observing animals in their natural habitats. And that connection with animals benefits all of us in the Wild Kingdom. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom right here on RFD TV.
Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom is presented by Mutual of Omaha, people you can count on.
Welcome to Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Among the primates, one of the most fascinating to observe is the baboon. This animal has a highly developed society in which the troop is under control of large dominant males, and the young are carefully trained by their mothers. One of the best places to observe baboon troops in their wild state is in the national parks of Tanzania. Recently, I was invited by the Tanzanian government to see how their national park rangers were being trained to observe and record baboon behavior. At the same time, scientific research on the baboons was being conducted by Dr. Ramon Rhine and several of his graduate students from the University of California at Riverside. It was all taking place in two national parks, Mikumi and Ruaha in Tanzania, where some of the world's greatest concentrations of wild animals are found. Through the cooperation of both the national park rangers and the scientists studying in those parks, we were able to get a valuable look at the baboons of Tanzania. Before we leave the headquarters of Mikumi National Park for the study area, where Dr. Ramon Rhine's University of California students are working, Philip Ole Sayalel, Mikumi Senior Park Warden, warns us to be constantly alert for the elephants which move about at random through the park. Many of these elephants have been seen in the study area we are heading for now, where the graduate students are recording their observations of a baboon troop. In the national parks of Africa, the appearance of humans has become so commonplace that the larger and more dangerous wild animals have often grown accustomed to them. That's not the case with the elephants here at Mikumi. As long as the researchers maintain a healthy distance from the elephants, there's no problem. They keep a wary eye on the humans in their territory while they contentedly feed upon the sharply thorned boughs with no indication of discomfort. If a person approaches too closely, the risk of being charged is very high. Thus, it's wise to always be extremely cautious and alert when elephants are nearby. The problem, as Dr. Rhine explains it, is that elephants like these can move dangerously close to researchers who are engrossed and don't notice their approach. This becomes a very real hazard if the researchers are upwind of the elephants. Philip Ole Sayalel will leave us here to get back to his other duties at headquarters, while we join a Mikumi National Park ranger and one of Dr. Ryan's graduate students who are logging observations of the yellow baboons here. Dr. Ryan oversees his graduate student, Dennis Rasmussen, in the work he is doing here on the baboons for his doctorate. The studies demand detailed observations over long periods, and that's where park rangers like Felix Muroto are providing important assistance after learning correct scientific procedure. There are two other graduates working here, Helen Hendy Neely and Kathy Rasmussen, Dennis's wife. Dennis and Felix are moving into a better location to continue their observations of the particular baboon troop living here. The study takes place throughout the troop's range, an area of about 17 square miles, but only a portion of that range is used intensively. The social structure of a baboon troop is complex and amazingly formalized, and there's still much to learn. Some of the questions this current research may answer concern the troop's movement, the devotion of all adults to the young, their relationship with various aspects of their habitat, and how much attention adult males give infants. Rangers learn to log information on food preferences of the baboons and how aggression is displayed. Such observations require daily study over periods longer than the scientists themselves can devote to actual field work. That's when the assistance of the Tanzanian park rangers becomes so valuable. Little heed is paid to the men by the baboons, while the rangers increase the composite knowledge that man has of the baboon and its habits, such as eating. It's noted, for example, that tamarind tree seeds form an important part of the basic diet of the baboons. Baboons are largely vegetarian, although not entirely so. Occasionally they will catch and eat insects or other small animals such as lizards and hares. They also enjoy catching the dangerously poisonous scorpions and eating them. Despite these variations in their usual diet, the baboons prefer food from plants. Soon the training by Dennis, added to the previous training completed by Felix Muroto, will allow the rangers to make independent observations. The rangers have helped us to fully document many facts, such as the observation that infant baboons aren't able to ride astride their mothers like this until they're 5 weeks old. The recorded sightings also prove that a female with an infant is so well protected by other members of the troop that she usually escapes serious antagonism from other baboons. The presence of scientists and rangers right in their midst is something which the baboons grow accustomed to after several months. And as they carry on their activities in a normal manner, we gradually learn a great deal about them. Because of the concentration required to observe baboon behavior, it was necessary for each of the researchers to be constantly alert for possible danger from other wild animals and be prepared to warn one another. Care must be taken by the researchers not to get so absorbed in their work that potential hazards are overlooked. The elephants are most dangerous in this particular area, and it's wise to be aware of their presence when they're anywhere nearby. Although they're unlikely to attack unless they feel threatened, it could be a serious mistake to blunder into their vicinity, and dangerous if the elephants approach the researchers without their knowledge. Whenever any animal is spotted which might be a threat to any of the researchers, a warning is sounded. Upon hearing the warning, each researcher acknowledges it and keeps it in mind as observations continue. The major activities of the members of the baboon troop are recorded regardless of how commonplace. One of the most usual is the continuing search for things to eat. But in addition to the common activities, many other actions which occur less frequently are logged in detail for later analysis. It's in correlating all these observations, whether recorded by scientists or rangers, that a thorough understanding of the baboons and their complex social structure emerges. For the benefit of the troop as a whole, peace must be maintained. This is often done by dominant males. Protection of the juveniles by all troop members is one of the most distinctive traits. The researchers faithfully record such actions and study their own observations at length. Among the baboons, serious fighting is controlled because each of the troop members knows his place. And this is the reason why, as the studies indicate, when a dominant animal approaches, the subordinate one usually moves out of the way. Any infraction of the troop's social code may result in punishment of the offender by one of the more dominant animals. Often, at the time they're being recorded, the actions of the animals are not fully understood, but later close study and comparison with other behavior makes complex action take on greater significance. Helen Hendy Neely, also working for her doctor's degree, knows that long-term observation has repeatedly shown grooming to be one of the most important social activities. Often, the particular activities are closely timed with a stopwatch, since the duration of a certain act may be of special meaning. Great concern is invariably shown for the babies, and they are fiercely protected and tenderly cared for, not only by the mother, but by all members of the troop. While all members of the baboon troop, except infants, groom others and are groomed in return, studies have shown that the adult males receive more grooming than they give. Grooming serves a number of purposes. Sometimes it is for removing parasites such as ticks or fleas. At other times it is for removal of dirt or to search for crystallized perspiration salts. Always, though, it is a reciprocal touching which has distinct and very important social connotation. The researchers have to be moving much of the time themselves to keep up with the almost constant general movement of the troop. When they move, females with the very young seldom wander far from other troop members. This day's activities at Mikumi are finished, but further observations will be made at Ruaha National Park. Next, I went from Mikumi to Ruaha, and there observed the rangers who have completed their training and are now independently observing baboon behavior. Ruaha National Park in Tanzania takes its name from the lovely river which runs through it. This park, just like the Mikumi National Park, has a large population of wild animals, including the yellow baboons. The rangers here are well trained in scientific observation. My guide is Assistant Warden William Sume, who's showing me the park before we join the rangers. Down at the river's edge are some water bucks. Ahead is a fine adult fish eagle on a favorite perch. Strictly a fish eater, he's no threat at all to even the smaller members of the baboon troop. Trees play an important part in baboon life. As soon as they're old enough to begin moving about on their own, the youngsters start climbing. This gives them good muscle-building exercise, builds confidence, and it also serves in establishing social interaction patterns which will be important throughout their lives. Finally, trees are havens for the baboon troop, for all of them sleep in the higher branches for safety from night-prowling carnivores. Now we'll head for the area of the park where baboon behavior is being recorded. All of the National Park Rangers get their preliminary training in scientific baboon observation at a primate research center located in Tanzania's Gombe National Park. An important facet of the research is analyzing the relationship between baboons and some of the familiar antelope species. Ahead, for example, are some impala mingling with the baboons. This is not uncommon. It's a symbiotic relationship, meaning that both animals benefit by the association. The antelope have a much better sense of smell and hearing than the baboons, but baboons have superior vision. In a mixed herd, with the keen nose and ears of the antelope and the sharp eyes of the baboon alert for danger, it's almost impossible for predators to surprise them. A fine example of symbiosis. Just ahead now are two Tanzanian park rangers recording baboon behavior. They're the men I was expecting to meet here. These two experienced rangers of the Tanzanian National Park System have learned to aid the visiting scientists by making detailed reports. Agostino Mudati and Chandi Rasite have learned to identify many baboons by sight and invite me to observe with them now. Although the safety of the baby baboons is the chief concern to all members of the troop, some odd and interesting behavior has been noted by the trained observers. For example, on occasion when one of the less dominant males in the troop has broken the rules and is to be disciplined by other males of the troop, he will snatch up an infant baboon and clutch it closely as a hostage to protect himself from being attacked, knowing the others will not endanger the baby. It's often just as important to note what the baboons do as a troop as what they do individually. During times when food and water are abundant, as they are now, the baboon troops rarely see one another. But during the dry season, there sometimes occurs extensive overlapping of ranges. Meetings between troops then are usually stiff but peaceful, although fierce fighting between them has been recorded by rangers. There are many things the baboons do which we do not fully understand. Yet, as their actions are logged and studied, certain patterns become clear, and suddenly a whole plateau of social intercourse among the animals takes on great significance. In many cases, what the scientists have learned from these observations are characteristics directly relatable to man's own innermost nature, and therefore of considerable value. Observations by Tanzanian park rangers are of continuing benefit to scientists everywhere who are interested in primate behavior. Wherever the troops' movements will take them now, observations will be recorded about the baboons of Tanzania. Even though many of the rangers being trained for work in the national parks of Tanzania are not biological scientists, they are greatly aiding such scientists by making and recording regular observations, which increase the extent of the overall research being accomplished here. By filling in charts supplied by the researchers, non-scientists provide professional observations for further study. This sort of cooperation is of great value to both the Tanzanian government and to the scientists. Their correlated observations are of great value in helping to understand and protect the wild kingdom.
Mutual of Omaha, people you can count on, has presented Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Mutual of Omaha, helping people find Medicare solutions for over 50 years. To learn more about plan options or how to protect your kingdom, contact us today.
Mutual of Omaha. Protect your kingdom.